got it. I just asked him.
Yes. Good.
Alright. Hello, my name is Kimberly Phillips, and tonight I'm going to talk to you about the sous vide machine. And before we get started, I want to ask you, what do you currently do for dinner? How many of you cook for yourselves and your families? Okay, so a good number of you. And for those of you who don't, what do you end up doing? Do you usually go out to eat or take out? And for people who cook at home, how long do you usually spend cooking dinner? 45 minutes? 20, 30?
30 minutes.
Sometimes an hour. Does the 8-hour count in the crock pot?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Alright. And what types of foods do you usually cook? Chicken?
Steak,
Chicken.
rice.
Alright. So I'm going to come back to that in a bit and show you how sous vide cooking can help you with all of these things. First I'm going to show a brief video that's going to explain exactly what sous vide cooking is.
If you aren't familiar with sous vide, it's a way to cook food using a water bath set to the temperature you'd like the food to reach. Because the food can't get hotter than the temperature of the water, it can't overcook. Unlike cooking on a stovetop or in an oven, sous vide doesn't depend on split-second timing, yet it produces perfect results every time. That's why the world's best restaurant chefs all rely on sous vide. It's really easy and reliable, and it's completely changed the way I cook at home.
Click on PowerPoint.
So sous vide literally means under pressure, and is cooking it in a vacuum sealed bag. And as some of you mentioned earlier, using a crock pot to cook, sous vide is similar to a crock pot in that it's sort of a set it and forget it kind of cooking. So you can put something in the sous vide machine in the morning and then it'll be cooked by the time you get home. And also like the crock pot, you can use less expensive cuts of meat, and by the time it's done cooking, it'll be tender, so you don't have to worry about buying really expensive steak at the store. And the difference between sous vide and the crock pot is that with the sous vide, you can precisely set the temperature. So you know, if you cook with a crock pot, you wind up with like maybe a lot of stews, and you wouldn't cook fish in it. So it has some limitations. Whereas with the sous vide, you can cook like a medium steak or rare steak. You can cook salmon. You can cook chicken. A whole bunch of different things. Right. And one great thing about the sous vide machine is that it's really easy to use. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of how you would prepare something in a sous vide machine. So first, you're going to add water to the reservoir, which is easy, and then you just select your temperature that you want to cook your meat at, and press start. And while the machine's heating up, you can be prepping whatever it is that you want to cook. And the bags look sort of like a Ziploc bag, and what you can do is you just season it, you stick it in the bag, and you can either use a machine like the one over here, where it'll just be like a plain bag and it'll create a seal for it. Otherwise, if you have a different type of bag that they make especially for the sous vide machines, it looks like a Ziploc bag. It has a little button-like thing on it, and you can use the handheld machine, like the person that's there, to just suck the air out of the bag. So it literally takes about 20 seconds. And then finally, you put meat into the machine and you let it cook for however long you want. The minimum is usually around 2 hours, just to make sure that all the bacteria gets out of it, but you can leave it in there around anywhere from like 8 hours up to 72 hours if you make something short ribs. And as you can see from the picture, sometimes it looks a little less than appetizing because it doesn't get that crunchy or crisp exterior like cooking in the oven would do. So what you can do is just finish it off in a pan, just do a quick sear on each side, or even use a kitchen torch to brown the outside. So how can the sous vide help you? As we discussed in the exercise in the beginning, a lot of people, you get home from work, you don't really want to spend, 45 minutes to an hour in the kitchen. With the sous vide, when you come home, your protein will be cooked, so you'll have a lot more time to just eat and then relax and maybe spend time with your family, do homework, whatever else you want to do to to do. For people who eat out a lot, it'll save you money because you'll be able to go home and eat at home instead of spending money out. I know for me, I used to eat out a lot at steakhouses, which is kind of expensive. So when my boyfriend and I went, we would, sometimes I spend like $60, $70 for a meal, whereas now I can buy like a steak for around $15 at the store, and it's the same quality of meat that I can make at home. And also, it's not just for meats. So like if there's any vegetarians in the audience, you can also use cooked vegetables, anything from like potatoes, carrots, and you can also use it to make desserts. As an example, over this past weekend, I had a lot of things to do. I had 2 projects to work on for school. I had some work for my job, and then my cat got sick. And unfortunately, I thought that the cat was going to take maybe about an hour at the vet because we live very close to it, but it ended up taking about 5 hours because our cat ended up being very sick. We had to take him to an emergency room. So in the morning, I put beef roast into the sous vide machine, and after it took much longer to get done with the cat, I wasn't worried though because I knew I could just leave it in the machine the whole time. We got home around 8 o'clock at night, and within 15 minutes, I had a roast on the table. I heated up some vegetables in the microwave, and I made instant potatoes, and we had dinner for that night. So, in conclusion, it's very easy to use, as you saw. The Sous Vide Supreme is the maker of at-home sous vide machines. So it's really precise temperature gauge. It's easy. It's difficult to mess up. It's as easy to use as a microwave. You get the temperature control, so you can cook a moist chicken breast, you can cook salmon, you can cook a rare steak if you want, or you can even do soups and stews as well. And it'll also save you money, because again, you can use the lesser cuts of meat, and you can cook at home instead of having to go out. And as you might have seen in the beginning video, it was actually a Kickstarter project that as Lonnie had mentioned earlier, where man is making it an affordable sous vide machine for at home. So I hope that the next time that you're considering making a kitchen gadget, you'll consider buying a sous vide.